What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior Shane.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR, the show. And thank you for coming through and being our drinking buddies for the evening, or the afternoon as it were. Now we're a little bit of a happy hour. With me today, no Kevlar. It looks like he'll be taking a bit of a hiatus, but he will be back. And we got Sports Beard, who walked away, which is interesting. Guys, thank you for coming through and having a drink with us. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Let's do a little bit of what's in your glass. And I'll be starting it off. I'm having a little Zoa Rita, as it were. A little Zoa Super Berry with a little bit of tequila. I'm out of the Rocks tequila though, so I'm not gonna put it over, just because I'm a big fan of the Rock. Let's see here. I assume Beard is getting his drink.
Yeah, sorry, you took off. I didn't know what you were doing, so I was like, oh, he must be getting a drink, so I'll just get one with him. Oh. I just needed to grab some water and. I figured I'd grab an actual alcoholic beverage. Did you already start the show?
Yep, yeah, we're on. We are.
Oh,
on.
Hey, everybody. It's Jeremiah Maxwell, the Beard, the Sports Beard. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's only episode 1. No need to fret. It's only episode 1. We're good.
I didn't hear the intro or anything, man, so.
Oh.
You disappeared from the screen. I was like, oh. What's going on?
I'm going to get the intro going and grab a drink, but I meant it in that order. What do you got? What's in your glass, man?
Yeah, gonna do some Terramana and, other stuff.
And other stuff. Sounds good, dude.
Just a Paloma that I like to have. It feels like a summer day.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
I like that that's kind of your go-to. I like so you'd like to do the Paloma. I like that Kev, when he can, most of the time he's trying to have a beer, something light, or a Crown Royal are kind of his two big go-tos. And on Thursdays, Amanda's constantly having Sonic, and Clump's constantly having coffee. And I'm the only one who cycles through whatever I'm drinking all the time. I love it. I just like that everyone's got their drink of the day for the show. I love it.
Yeah, it also depends on what time we start. So it's a little early for me sometimes to get drinking, but
yeah. Let's see, Grim Reaper coming through already. Cheers, Grim Reaper.
Oh yeah, nice. Hey, Grim
We'll
Reaper.
be on the way. I think he's going to Wrestlemania, and so we got to get him.
Oh, dude, cool, man! That's gonna be fun. Are we gonna do a 2-day live thing, or is that what we're gonna do? Or
I think we are. As I was thinking about it more and more, you guys let me know what you think, or if you have any issues with it. I'm thinking for WrestleMania, what we do is I'll change the layout. It won't look like this with the boxes so much.
Yeah.
I'll have just a little bit of an overlay, but put in the whole Zoom screen and give the link out.
Cheers, just in time. Sorry.
Cheers, just in time. And give the link out to anyone and everyone who's ever been on our show, and allow them to come and go as they want. Pop in for a match, pop out for a match, whatever. A
whole round table is what you're talking about. I love it. Fucking love it. Sounds like a great idea, dude. Yeah.
And if it stays too dead and no one's jumping in, maybe we'll just tweet out the link and say anybody who wants to come on in. Because I got the power to kick people out if they get rambunctious. But
well, and the one thing we could do is if you had a Discord set up for Wrestling on the Rocks, we could actually we could actually show the thing in the Discord video chat for our members. As long we're not broadcasting, it's just our people that coming in, and we're collectively watching the same feed.
Yeah.
Whereas, obviously we can't show any of the actual footage on where we're talking about it, but you could see everybody's faces that are maybe watching from the Discord or something. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's doable or,
Oh yeah, we'll be able to show everybody's faces as a gallery thing. But yeah, we do have a Discord. Now that you mention it, if you go to the actually, if you go to even my Twitter at Ref Marsh or WOTR the show, there's a link in the bio for I believe it's solo dot something, and in there is all of our links. And if you go to the very bottom, there's a Discord invite, timeless Discord invite. Just no one's ever jumped in. So, but it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of members jump in. A couple friends jump in so I could try out some stuff. But if it ever grows, if it ever becomes a thing, it's there. It's on. It's live. But yeah, anybody in the chat, if you guys want to know, yeah, we're gonna do like a roundtable watch along and let it be as big or as small as it ends up being, and that way nobody feels obligated to sit around for 2 days for 9 hours.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad that they're doing it over 2 days. I'm getting very excited for it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I'm not the big, there's a lot of things I'm excited for. So did you want to jump into the news or?
Yeah, on the topic of WrestleMania, just as a secondary thing, WrestleMania is going to be in theaters this year, which I think is really cool for a couple reasons. One, it's been a long time.
Events? Is that Fathom Events? Hey, Logan Hacker, my buddy Logan Hacker in the chat.
Very good.
He's from the Hot Take Hockey community. Nice to see you.
Cool.
Yeah, yep. He's a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan. He lives in Florida there, and so I'm sure he likes wrestling too. Well, a lot of the young kids I talk to, man, like I think that's the one thing they got to grow that young fan base, man. I think that's the future of the sport. But go ahead, you were talking about WrestleMania news. Sorry,
but it is through Fathom Events. You were right on that one. It is going to be in theaters, which I think is cool because so far AEW must have been seeing success because they've been putting a lot of their pay-per-views in theaters as well. And I was curious how well they're doing. Not so curious to actually dig up and look, but when you think about if AEW's been doing it for a year or two, and now WWE's going to bring WrestleMania back to theaters, because that's the other thing. WrestleMania was originally in theaters the first, 4 years or so, 5 years or so, when it was all CCTV stuff. But maybe not year one, but definitely by 3. But anyways, I don't remember all the history of it. But so the idea that WrestleMania would be going back must mean that AEW is seeing positive numbers by putting it through a theater. So much so that if not WWE being aware of how well AEW is doing, that theaters are aware and asking for more content. You know what I mean?
I have not seen a wrestling event at a theater, but I have gone to see a UFC pay-per-view. And I think the thing was, it was so much significantly cheaper to watch it in the theater than it was to order the pay-per-view. And UFC pay-per-views are $75 now for HD, which gonna get the HD. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah. So
see that tooth fly out.
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you right now, if UFC had so they have the ESPN Plus, but obviously the pay-per-views are still pay-per-views. If they had something set up like Peacock for WWE where you pay $10 a month, I would save like $800 a year.
Yeah.
Because if I order 10 pay-per-views, that's $750.
Yep.
That's a shitload of money, man. Like,
that's what made WWE doing the network such a crazy thing when it happened.
Yeah, but it was just, they were ahead of their time. They were smart because that's what everything is moving towards. It's streaming services. So yep, absolutely.
So I do think it's cool WrestleMania will be in theaters, but if you're not in theaters, come through our channel for sure.
Well, the reason I asked in Fathom Events, those are shown here in Anchorage at like the Century, and so I know. And I think AMC may actually own that. So it might be under AMC's banner, but you can Google Fathom Events and what theaters show them. So, because not all the Regal theaters don't show Fathom Events, I don't think. Now, I may be wrong. I could be totally lying. Anyway, Google it if you want to go see it at your local theater. I think that's cool. The only weird thing is it is a 2-day event. So do they sell tickets for both days or?
It's got to be per day, yeah. It does say that according to the WWE.com article, they do say tickets to see WrestleMania 38 live in theaters can be purchased online at fathomevents.com. So yeah, that'll tell you where all the theaters are that are near you that you can.
Well, if you don't pay for Peacock, which is $9 a month or $9.99 a month or whatever, and I wonder, would you go pay $20 to go see it in a theater? Probably, right?
I think it depends. I think that there's a lot of fans who don't I mean, for one, I do still think there are fans who don't realize that WWE is on Peacock. I honestly think that. I think that a lot of people, and I don't mean that as like fans, I mean as potential viewers, or people who, the type of people, like friends of mine who, for one, have Peacock and watch WrestleMania every year. I had to tell them when SummerSlam was on Peacock. I was all like, oh yeah, you have it if you have Peacock. And they're like, no kidding. Like, they didn't notice the tab, right? So I think there could be. I also think that I think there's a benefit to going to theater as far as just enjoyability, being able to have those theater snacks. Maybe you haven't been to a theater in a while. Maybe they're not sure about a movie. Maybe you're getting a bunch of people together to go to the theater because it's easier for you guys to get to a centralized theater than for everyone who's got a small apartment to try and load up in one room. You know what I mean? I think there's reason. I don't know if I have a personal reason to go to the theater, but I think I'd be interested to see how well they do as well.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I think it would be cool to see it at a theater. I think if I wasn't doing an online stream with you, I might entertain the idea, but there is something to be said about being in the comfort of your own home. I think it just depends on what kind of setup you have at home. If you're watching a lot of your wrestling stuff on your phone and you're like, oh, I would love to watch it on like a big screen, that would be cool. If you don't have a big screen TV or anything, I totally see how that would be a cool thing. Even if you have Peacock, Yeah. So I'm with you. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I do think that you bring up a good point, almost accidentally, is that with Peacock being cheap, how cheap can WrestleMania tickets be to be good? And then when I brought AEW up, their pay-per-views are like $50-$60 depending on what your provider is.
Yeah.
Going to a theater is cheaper. So maybe they would see more success than WWE would in this case. I don't know. I'm curious, but it's cool. It is cool.
Yeah.
Can't knock them for trying something new. The other piece of news, and then we'll get into the stuff. All I have is Gable Steveson, my apologies, won his back-to-back NCAA championship and said that he's going to go to WrestleMania. Pretty fucking cool, man. 2 back-to-back NCAA championships. I thought it was really neat that he did the whole, he made a ceremony out of it at the end and sat in the middle of the ring and took off his, or the mat, took off his boots and laid him in there, which is, I don't know, you'll have to tell me about this one. There's 2 questions I have about it. One, is that a tradition in amateur wrestling at all to leave your boots in there? Because typically
I think so. I think if you know it's your last match, you hang them up. Yeah. Well, because you have to realize too, like up until MMA, and then in MMA you're not allowed to wear shoes, right? Obviously, so you ain't wearing MMA. The wrestlers, when they got done with college, they were done, unless they were a coach or like they really didn't wrestle again. So there's no professional collegiate league. Basically, if you want to wrestle with that sort of background, you go into the sports entertainment wrestling, or you do MMA. So
that's true. Yeah.
I was
just wondering because in wrestling there was an old tradition of leaving your boots in the ring, and I was wondering if Gable was bringing that to amateur or if it was kind of a dual thing.
No, I think guys will leave their headgear or their boots or both, or probably don't see a lot of guys stripping the singlet off because they don't wear anything underneath that. But I think guys do it if they know, like high school guys probably do it if they know they're not going to college, and I'm sure college guys do it. Yeah. My school was badass wrestlers, man. Back-to-back state championships in 95, 96, Montana state champions. Postal Pirates, go baby. Yeah.
And I had a question for you. Is Gable Steveson in a small class or a class of his own and being back-to-back NCAA championships? Has anyone else done that?
Well, okay, so there's been 190 multiple NCAA Division I wrestling champions.
Yeah.
There has been one guy that won it 4 times in a row in different weight classes.
That's cool.
But there's 4 guys who have won. I want to say there's 5 because I thought Michael Kimmerer did it, but the names that I have, this website is old. Michael Kimmerer did it, I think, recently. He won it 4 times. Kyle Dake from Cornell is the guy who won it in 4 different weight classes: 141, 149, 157, 165. And then the legend that everybody knows about is Chael Sanderson, or Chael Sanderson, depending. He doesn't have a CH, so I think it's Chael Sanderson. Iowa State. He won the national title 4 times. He retired 159-0. Like he never lost. He never lost a match in like amateur anything. The guy never lost. So
that's insane.
Yeah, and then Pat Smith, who's a famous Oklahoma State guy, he won the national title 4 times from 91 to 94. I remember his name getting called quite a bit when I was, though that was obviously those are years I was in high school. So, and then a guy named Logan Stieber from Ohio State. So Iowa State always really known for their wrestling. Oklahoma State not too shabby either. So yeah, and there's been
a few times, a handful of times for sure.
Yeah, there's been 49 wrestlers that have won it 3. So Gable, he joins a list of 140 some odd guys because I think this wrestling article that I got the information from is a little bit old. Yeah.
And do you think, like, out of the ones who've won it multiple, are they usually back to back, or do they miss a year and then get back? Or
well, I'm gonna say that probably yeah. It looks like the double guys. It's all the consecutive years.
Yeah.
Okay. They won.
Cool.
Yeah, because and you figure too, like any collegiate sport, the freshmen and sophomores may not be the best guys on the team, and the juniors and seniors, so they may not have had the opportunity. I don't know how many scholarships they have handed out. Are you an alumnus? Where you did some college, right?
Not a college that still exists.
Okay. There's some Arizona State guys that won back-to-back state championships.
Well, that's cool. Go Sun Devils, as Kev would say.
Yeah. I don't see any Zona guys, any Tucson boys, but
yeah, I doubt it.
You know, but they won some national. Go ahead.
That's cool though. So I mean, Gable Steveson, incredible gold medalist, dual NCAA champion, already drafted to Raw superstar. Says he's going to go to Wrestlemania. Without getting ahead of ourselves, because we'll talk about all the stuff as we get there as far as just other things. Do you think there's a possibility, or maybe there's a possibility, do you think there's a strong possibility that Seth is going to end up with a Gable Steveson match at Mania?
Oh, I hope that's what happens. That would be cool. I was thinking, you know what I was thinking? Him interfering in Roman's match and helping another collegiate wrestling champion win the title, and then carrying a storyline with Lesnar, him, and Reigns. But I don't know, man. I really wonder what Vince and the brain trust there that comes up with the ideas is going to do there. I think anything will be cool though. Because I think we're excited to see him in like sooner than later.
Yeah, there's 2 possibilities of, like, when you think about if Gable Steveson does end up in a match at WrestleMania, which I think is possible. I think there's no reason why he couldn't.
Give him the Universal title.
Well, no, I was thinking that he could end up. That's a good Universal title. I think I got mine over here too. Actually, I brought mine out.
I know you saw that, and then of course you saw the. You know.
Oh yeah, the Stone Cold.
I got
my. I should bring out my Undertaker one, especially because
your Undertaker one. I would love to see. That looks so cool. I wanted to get that.
Yeah,
and of course I still have the Stone Cold Smoking Skull belt, but I thought I got to get the Universal title, right?
It's a good one.
Like that's a pretty looking belt.
Yeah, but I do think that there's a possibility, especially as we're getting somewhere, or I mean, I guess as it feels like we're going nowhere, but there's clearly going to be a match for Almost, and there's clearly going to be a match for Seth.
Yeah.
I think there's no reason why Gable Steveson couldn't have either one of those matches. And I saw somebody online make a comment about how funny they were being smartass, right? They're like, they're being a smartass because of the dirt sheets, right? All the dirt sheets say definitely Seth versus Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is signed. He's going to be here. But at the end of the day, like Bishop always says from Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, and like you talk about, fantasy booking can be a little bit goofy in the world of wrestling and maybe counterproductive at times because you get all excited. So when you do look at who's someone going to face, it is better to work in the realm of who you actually know is in the company versus people who are rumored to be in the company. And Gable Steveson,
Omos would be cool. I would dig that. Really cool. That would be cool. And you know, I'm saying, like, because of his name and stuff, I don't know. Maybe I am more excited about Gable Steveson than maybe the normal fan because Pat is so stoked about him. And so I don't know, but I could see Omos and him being an awesome matchup. Seth Rollins and anybody is an awesome matchup, as we saw in that really awesome match on Monday. And I could also see like him being, like I said, in the title picture right away. Like maybe he interferes in the Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar thing on behest of Brock Lesnar, and they team up and just mow through. They are both Minnesota, right? Like, so that's the only reason I thought, because Brock went to Minnesota. He was a heavyweight champion for NCAA there at least once. I don't think he won multiple.
And Gable has said that he has trained with Brock before and looks at Brock in kind of a mentorship role. Yeah. So it's not impossible. I think that
how awesome would it be to I'm sorry too, I didn't mean to cut you off, but how awesome would it be to see Brock in like a real tag team? If he's not, so like let's say Roman ends up retaining the title or he gets it back the next month or whatever, but Brock and Gable become like this masterful tag team, because I think that would be kind of cool too. Like, you know,
I think that could work. Also, I think that Gable, as far as just tag team goes, Gable and Shelton Benjamin could work too. They're also both Minnesota wrestlers, and Shelton Benjamin actually was one of the guys who trained Brock Lesnar at amateur wrestling, and they're really close. And if you go far enough back to OVW, Brock Lesnar and Shelton Benjamin were a tag team and were the tag team champions in OVW as Brock Lesnar was training to get ready for the main roster. So, I just think there's a lot of connection there with really top guys. But I wonder, I think that it would be too soon and not great to put Gable in the title picture right away, but I do see him getting to a title picture area within a year, if that makes sense. Sort of like a Kurt Angle.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Let him build and be crazy and get there.
Well, right, but isn't Gable Stevenson an Olympic gold medalist too? I thought he won a gold medal, so he's two-time. I don't even know that Kurt Angle won state championship.
No, Gable is more like a Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar mix as far as like credentials go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like within a year, I think he'd get there. Kurt Angle got there within a year. Brock Lesnar got there within a year, but they didn't start there. And that's what I would think could be bad is if he started there and either won or didn't win, it could seem, I don't know, it could come off sideways. So I think you build him there within a year.
Also really hard too, like with like the promo work has to be there for the fans, right? So like they're so picky now. You really don't want to throw somebody to the wolves right away. I could see what you're saying there. Yeah. Hopefully, dude. I hope a lot of people feel like the same way I do, and that this guy is going to be a big star, and they want to see that. So, but I don't know. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. If I had to pick, I'd rather see Gable with Seth Rollins than see him with Omos, just because Omos is still. I wouldn't say he's necessarily green. I do like what he's doing, but he does feel a lot. I mean, he's definitely not as veteran as a Seth Rollins, and I think that when Gable comes in, you give him some of the best top guys to help him learn fast, you know, and not a guy who just is kind of picking it up now, even. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like. Well, so
I like.
Yeah,
I make it short for Omos.
Well, I think Omos could do a thing with Seth Rollins. If it's just a match right now, I think he'd be fine. I think if you have to build the match with a lot of promo work, I'd be a little bit nervous about Omos. But other than that, I think he'd be fine in just about any match. So
yeah, I get you. Yeah. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Otherwise, we'll just talk about what's happening on TV and not just fantasy book. But I do think it would be great to put Gable on this WrestleMania card one way or another. And because I like pettiness, it would make me happy if it wasn't Seth and Cody because of how petty I am. The dirt sheets would all be wrong. I would be right, and I would love it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Cody Rhodes. I know what his dad was. I remember Dusty Rhodes, and I remember Goldust, that's his brother, correct?
Yeah, that's his brother.
Yeah. So I remember those wrestlers and loved Dusty Rhodes. He was so good on the mic, right?
Oh yeah.
So I don't have an opinion of Cody Rhodes because I just haven't seen anything that he's done. So it's sort of like when Becky Lynch came back. I'm like, I don't know who Becky Lynch is, and then oh yeah, she's pretty cool. It took me a long time though.
Yeah.
You know, because I wasn't on board right away. I was like, oh, who's this bitch? We're supposed to like her, but she's like the best, greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You know, really.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she's so good.
And if Cody does show up, I don't think it'll be too long before you enjoyed what he was doing, but I do think it takes a little time. And I think even the fans of Cody, I think, are apprehensive to see what would become of Cody if he does show up. Because he had like 3 or 4 gimmicks in WWE before he left, and then he's had like 2 or 3 on the indies and through AEW since he's been there, that it's like, what would we see of him? And that's, I think if he shows up, it's going to be interesting.
I'm not rooting against the guy because I don't have an opinion, positive or negative. And I would love to see anybody come in and bring viewership and fans and do a good job. Like, as long as the story is compelling, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, like, that's the thing. I feel like everybody's like, oh, it's because they're soft and they don't do blood. No, you need the good stories, And I love the Bianca and Becky thing. I'm just saying, like, give us the good stories, man. It doesn't, creative writing, you can get around making it, you know, I think sex is easy thing to sell. If you can write a story without shoving that in there, it's really good. And so, and I'm not saying they don't have to have like bylines or sub stories that, you know, that are a little easy like that, because you don't really care about the grand scheme of it. But, you know,
that's fair. Yeah, for sure. You can sprinkle that in without it being the main focus, for sure. And it doesn't take a lot to have a compelling story. As we'll get to it, the Kevin Owens Stone Cold story is incredibly compelling, and it's been relatively one-sided, and it's still fucking compelling. But we're going to get to that in a bit. Let's start with Smackdown. Let's talk some other compelling stories. It opened up with Roman Reigns coming out there, Paul Heyman saying that Brock Lesnar was not going to be there, and then partway through as Roman's talking,
Brock's going to be there.
The intensity of Paul Heyman coming off like he was scared fucking shitless.
He is the greatest overactor of all time. He is the greatest overactor of all time. I am convinced, and he is fucking incredible. Like,
that was the best description I've ever heard of that.
He will be in the Hall of Fame, right? Like, there's no question. Like, if you know, you talk about the founders, like Mount Rushmore, like Vince is on there, Paul Heyman's on there. Yeah. No, he's so incredible. I mean, he basically spawned Stone Cold because he told him to go to WWE from AEW. You know,
from WCW, but he also brought in Stone Cold into ECW.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. In ECW, he told him to go to.
He told him
I said AEW.
His promos in ECW are very close to what you got from Stone Cold.
Yeah.
There's a transition in between.
That's what I'm saying. Paul Heyman helped build. I think Stone Cold has been on record and said this, that Paul Heyman helped him birth Stone Cold. Like, he credits him all the time. Mm-hmm. Well, I just heard him on Stone Cold, by the way, Marsh, if you didn't see, Stone Cold did a recent interview with Rich Eisen on Peacock, which is right after Dan Patrick on the NBC Sports channel that's still alive on Peacock. So, because, you know, their network went away, right? Their NBC Sports network went away. They don't have it anymore. It doesn't exist. They got rid of the channel. So, like, if you have it on live or whatever. So that's why we watched hockey or whatever. But like, Peacock being the WWE's platform, they have a sports shows. Dan Patrick, I think, has one, and Pro Football Talk. But Rich Eisen's on there, and he interviews Stone Cold, and I think it was for the El Segundo Pale Ale, American Pale Ale release.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. The American Lager release, I think, is the one he's promoting right now.
Yeah, American Lager. But I think he talked on that show about Paul Heyman and how important he was, because they did a start bench cut segment. It's really good. Check it out on YouTube, because Rich posts all his content to YouTube too, so you'll be able to see that interview with Stone Cold's recent, and he does talk about Kevin Owens. So since you brought that up, you know, because that's how Raw opened. We're still on SmackDown, I know.
Yeah. So going back to Paul Heyman, the idea that you called him the best over actor of all time, I think is so perfect, because so many people talk about like best promo, best actor. They always use those things. But you make a great point about Paul Heyman. He is probably the most perfect at overacting. The way he's screaming and panicked and he's on his way now. And the way that he can do it, where you just know it's far and beyond over the top,
Yeah.
and somehow grounded in a sense of reality that it fucking works.
Yeah, he's so
crazy.
good, dude. He's good, and it's like you don't care that it's fake.
No,
You just like, you're legit like, oh yeah, shit, Paul. I mean, you got skid marks in your pants now, don't you? Yeah, dude. I fucking love it, dude. Like, that's the only thing that's making the Roman Reigns stuff honestly bearable for me.
Gotcha.
Again, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the shit I don't like, but like Heyman in this thing is kind of the best part of it. And you know what? Actually, Lesnar, even though he's like on rage mode Lesnar now, which is the Lesnar everybody already knows, he's having so much fun. Like, that was a total Stone Cold moment where he ran the forklift through the SUV that the Usos and Roman Reigns. And dude, again, like, I don't know how he can win at WrestleMania. I mean, he looks like such a bitch right now. He is so afraid of Brock Lesnar, but he tore him apart at Madison Square Garden, but yet he's fearful of him. I don't know what they are doing. Like,
that's really fun, though. I like that, because what you're doing is you're describing the fact that they're somehow making the most dominant champion they've ever had in Roman Reigns feel like the underdog.
Yeah, I don't feel that way.
You just said he was a bitch. How can he win? That's
well, no, I'm saying he's acting like a bitch. He's running from Lesnar. If he thinks he can beat him, why isn't he facing him in the ring?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, it feels like they're making Roman look like a scared chicken shit, not an underdog.
Well, I think
the guy who's not deserving of the title. I'm just saying, that's how I feel about it.
I think that I think we both have different definitions of underdog. Maybe, like, I think when you think of underdog, you're thinking of like the Rudy underdog story, the guy who's
underdog
against
is
all
the not betting favorite. Ref Marsh, the guy who's not supposed to win, right? That's the underdog.
Okay.
No, but I mean, like, yeah, no, you don't agree.
Well, I just want to finish my sentence. I think we'll agree. I think we're about to agree.
Okay.
I think we're about to agree.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
There's two versions of underdog, right? There's the underdog, like the Rudy underdog, where it's the person that all odds are against and you want to win, and that's that underdog, right?
Right.
But I think I'm thinking of it the same way you just described it, where it's just like the betting odds, the favorite versus not, where this guy can't possibly win this, right? Like, whether or not you want them to win or not is irrelevant in my version of underdog in my mind. But I also use underdog the other way too, where it's all like, I don't want him to win, I expect him to lose, kind of a concept. But I think you're right. Like, there's a certain aspect of him where they're making him kind of chicken shit, where you're like, can he even pull this off? He's scared shitless of Brock, which is an interesting dynamic to give to a Roman who's been categorically dominant. You know,
with help.
So I think,
but I got you.
Yeah. So I think we're on the same page. As like, it's an interesting way to show Roman to be all like, I think maybe they're just trying to find a way. How can we make it so it doesn't feel like an obvious victory because every other one has, right?
Can I harken back to something historical in the wrestling thing in this thing?
Do it.
Remember Goldberg's like whatever fucking 159, whatever his run was.
Yeah, 178 or something, 168, something like that.
Yeah, like where he just fucking dominated. Yeah. And people are like, oh, he's not that good in the ring. But that fucking streak was awesome.
Right?
And you loved it. And you're like, I'm into this.
Yeah.
Do you fucking give two fucking shits that Roman's been the longest title run in the like, really? He's not the 10th best fucking WWE champion to me. Like, he you know what? So here's a good example. Roman, you're the fucking Cal Ripken.
He's just always there.
Yeah, so Cal Ripken is a baseball player that broke the consecutive games, but he played like 29 fucking 100 games. And he broke Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig was the guy who famously filled in for a guy named Wally Pipp. You don't want to get Wally Pipp. And Lou Gehrig never gave up first base. And the only thing that stopped him was a disease they had named after him. Yeah. But so, like, I don't, like, Roman's streak to me means nothing. Like, I feel like there's like, it's not, it doesn't hold a candle to Goldberg's. I don't think his title reign is better than The Rock's, Stone Cold's, or Triple H. So also I did talk about Cena, who I just didn't see a lot of, But dude, love that guy. If he's half as good at being the heavyweight champion as he was at the Peacemaker, then he's like maybe the greatest of all time. I don't know. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know if that argument makes sense as far as the Roman argument.
I mean, I could see why you would say that coming in kind of fresh. I would say that anyone who was watching the Cena run, Stone Cold run, Rock run, all those runs at the same time, I think it's hard to argue Roman doesn't belong in that conversation. I think what he's doing, he might have slow, methodical matches. And that's the other thing. There's a whole realm of fans that, like when you think of AJ and Seth Rollins, because I've got Raw playing in the background, a lot of moves, but a slower pace. It's not like just spot after spot after spot, but there's a lot of big flashy moves. Roman doesn't give you the big flashy moves, but he does go in there dripping with story. And if you were to watch the Hell in a Cell match he had with Jey Uso, it was probably one of the slower matches that had probably some, like, there's probably not a single spot.
See, I didn't see his rise either. That hurts, right? I didn't see his rise. When I got back, he's the
he was already champ.
Right. So I don't appreciate that probably as much as the fan that never left. So I respect that take from you. And I think that's probably why I'm not vested. But think about anybody who's come on recently.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like me, I'm a McAfee. I came back to wrestling because I'm wearing his charity on my head for the brand. So I came into it like, and Pat doesn't talk shit about Roman. He doesn't talk shit about Brock either. And so like, I root for Brock. I identify with Brock. Brock's a country boy with a beard. And, I wished I had a ponytail. It looked better. But you know what I'm saying?
But Pat saw the rise, and I wonder if that's a huge part of the people who are for or against Roman right now, or people who may have seen the rise and people who didn't.
Yeah, I 100% think that has to be it, because
it's got to be at least a fact.
Like you're like I value your opinion. You're up there going like, no, he should be considered one of the greatest, and I'm like, I don't fucking see it. But then I'm like, well, I didn't see his rise, so I know the Shield or whatever was a big part too. Like, anyway. Then they were dominant. They did some shit, and they were fucking motherfuckers up in the WWE.
Yeah.
Roman
but
and Seth.
I also really appreciate your perspective of it, and always take that into account when I'm seeing the Roman stuff and thinking, how does this translate to somebody who's kind of tired of him? Are they going to do this? Or are they going to be invested? And it sounds like in an essence, it's like if they haven't got you by Roman, they got you by Brock. And either way, they're going to get you.
Oh, yeah. No, I want to see the match. Like, don't get me wrong. But I want what I don't think I'm going to get. I want Brock to win. And I don't think I'm going to get that. And I don't think I'm going to get that because I missed the rise of Roman, and Roman's where they got the money invested, and they're putting their chips in the middle. I just, because to me, do this with Roman, then he will do anything at all costs to keep the title.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just all sneaky and shady and not really well thought out. Anyway, I don't want to be negative about it. Like,
but that's not even
I really want to see the match. I just would rather see Lesnar win as a babyface, because if you'd have told me Lesnar was ever a babyface, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. That is not possible.
They ruined him.
and no, but like, he's awesome at it, and I love it.
Yeah.
And I think, even though he's rich and wealthy and yada, 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 he, like a lot of people, I think, identify with him. A lot of people, are little mini Brock Lesnar's, and they're like, I get it.
And I think as much as the fan base has hated him over the years, I think part of the fan base in their gut has always wanted to appreciate him and are given the opportunity now, and they're just showering him with it.
Right. Yeah. Right? That's yes. So it's cool. Great, dude. I don't think they realized how big a pop this would get. I think that's the problem we have now. I think if they took a poll, I bet 80% of wrestling fans want to see Roman get bounced. I'm just saying. I don't think the bloodline is as big as people think it is. Because even knowing, like, going back and going through the backstory, I'm telling you, he's so bitch mode right now. I'm like, he doesn't need to have the title forever. He can win it again. He can rise back up into it. Like, it's not, I think it'd almost be better for him to lose it and have to Rocky his way back up. And then you appreciate him even more.
Potentially. You know what I think I love about the Roman story right now? Is I think that it forever teeters on an uncertainty, which is so cool, because I don't think you're making any points that aren't valid. I don't think you're saying anything that I think, your head's up your ass, how can you think that way? I may not agree with half of what you're saying, but I think that both of our opinions on it are completely valid and possible, and I think that's what I love about this reign right now, is that I don't think there's a wrong way to go with it, and I think there's a vision with it where I'm just so ultimately excited to see how it's going to pay off and end, because where do you go when every way seems to be decent in one way or another? There doesn't seem to be a shitty outcome.
Well, that's always good though, right?
Oh,
if you have the, oh, well, if Roman wins, I'll hate it, but I still won't stop watching. If Brock wins, I'll love it, but, you know, there'll be detractors of that, I'm sure, too.
Right.
So,
but even from your perspective, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like, when you're like, I'll see both. You wouldn't mind seeing both ways, is what I'm saying. So when you get to the point where you're like, you're indifferent about it in that way, I understand that for sure.
But not like, I mean, it's almost like passionately indifferent, if that makes sense, where it's all like, if Brock won, I would love it. But then I would be stuck in a position where I don't know who I would want to take the title off of Brock, if not like another Roman. And do I really want to see more Roman Brock? I think I'd be ready to see that cool off a bit. But at the same time, if Roman wins, I would love it, because who the fuck is going to take it off Roman? I can't wait till we get there. You know what I mean? So
well, right. But, you know, somebody brought up to me, Micah brought up to me.
Toxic piece of shit.
You know, Bobby Lashley. And I was like, oh, yeah, I fucking totally forgot about Bobby Lashley. So, yeah, I mean, what's his real injury, this, that, or the other? Is it kayfabe? Whatever. So, it is what it is.
If Brock wins it and Bobby takes it off Brock, and then you
that's what I said.
Because
I said, if Roman wins it, who do you have go up? That's I said.
Exactly.
My argument was, if Roman wins, then who goes after Roman? That's believable on the roster right now. I said, the Demon, maybe? You bring the Demon back? That was the one I was like,
yeah.
I would think settled on.
I mean, I honestly think that I think you'd have to be looking at an AJ, a Seth, a Finn.
Bring the Demon back.
I think Demon's a good one. I think but I truly think it would end up being a Baron or a Drew McIntyre. I think
which I would be fine with either of those two too. And you know what?
Me too. I wouldn't be upset about any of those rivalries. But I think that those are the only people who are believably could take down a Roman in such a sense that you go, well, fuck. I mean, it's one of them. What do you expect? You know what I mean? Like, because they couldn't just flop it on a Damian Priest, because you go, really? Or Matt Riddle, I don't think could take out a Roman at this point.
Well, they're trying to build Riddle there, though.
They'll get him there.
And Priest, think they will get him there. I actually like both those guys, but I agree with you. They're not there right now.
Exactly. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well,
I love it.
So the thing, I brought it up earlier. If let's just say like Gable Stevenson helps Brock, but like, Roman gets a title back somehow or whatever, they disqualify, and Gable and Brock team up to be a tag team, like them and the Alpha Academy. Oh my God, dude, the storylines so good. So I'm fantasy booking a little bit there, but I'm saying there's a way to, and then you can throw Bobby in. I think Bobby and Roman, we haven't really gotten to see that, right? So that's probably what's going to be next. Because what we're doing here is we're focusing on who's on the roster, right? Ref Marsh, and what we
try to, yeah. I mean, I don't understand contracts, but I still try to stay within contracts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a realistic story that we could expect. And like, I think we're gonna build to something big by WrestleMania 40. We're 2 years away. That is gonna be the fucking crescendo of all crescendos. I think they're gonna pull out all the fucking stops, and they might build a fucking whole storyline off the WrestleMania before just to, go into 40. Because I think we'll see Cena, Rock, Stone Cold, Taker, Edge, you know, like
Yeah, we could see a big
yeah,
powwow
it's
for
gonna
sure.
be the fucking creme de la creme of wrestling greats that are still in the game, you know.
Man. I'm so hyped right now. My heart's racing just talking about how cool all this shit is. So dope. But I mean, I love it because that's where we're at with it. So we don't spend all night talking about Roman and Brock. So I think you and I can because, like I said, I don't think there's a wrong direction to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is so fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think you made the statement of the day right there, saying Paul Heyman's the best overactor of all time, and I think that you're right because he's somehow believably overacting. Because we see other overacting that is just so not believable, it takes you out of it. Paul Heyman's overacting draws you into it, and fuck you, dude, that's dope.
Yeah, no, he's good, man. I love the guy. I just do. He's great.
Yeah.
You know, he's impossible to hate if you don't. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Brock destroying the cars, coming out there with the part of the car. I'm going to do more than
truck
blow the door off the car.
The truck door. And Pat's calls were legendary, too.
So good. Silverado.
Oh, my God. So good. And you know what, though? He's fucking smiling and having, like, the best fucking time.
Yeah, I love how he apologized to the fans. It's even
more enjoyable. It's just so fun to watch. It's like, yes.
Dude, the way he apologized to the fans for being a little overexcited. He's got a fucking car door in his hand.
Dude. It's so good. Right, I don't think they realized how fucking good it is. Yeah. Again, we got to get off Brock. Because I could talk about him the whole fucking night.
That's what it was. I'm a little riled up. Yeah. You have to excuse me. I'm a little riled up. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, like, you are. You tore a fucking truck door off. I mean, even though it was totally fake. I mean, if you go back, because I've seen it like 27 times.
Yeah, it just falls off.
It's like, okay, yeah, they just made it fall off, but it was inventive. The forklift, dude, that's some stone cold fucking shit right there.
Yep.
Like, that's a big ass stunt they pulled. And like they had Jey Uso in the front, like, like, dude, incredible. That was a dangerous stunt that they pulled that was pretty fucking cool.
It was cool.
Even
if Roman and the Usos did an awesome job in that whole segment too.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. And they even had a shot of like Jey Uso with the glass broken and the thing in there. So if you think they fucking didn't pull that off as a stunt,
it's amazing. It's amazing.
That was pretty impressive. Yeah.
As we roll through some of it, because I'm going to steamroll through some so we could focus more of our energies on others. Shinsuke and Rick Boogs against the Lethal Lotharios. I like what they're doing here. Boogs is looking strong as fuck. Pat McAfee's putting him over.
Oh, yeah. Because he's the shit, and he loves him.
He loves him. It does make me, every time we see Boogs now, we keep thinking about Elias and wondering what's going to happen to him. I know you don't know who he is, but we wonder. Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. I'm going to write it down right now. I've been thinking all week. I was like, what was that fucking clip I was supposed to give Sports Beard? And it was the Elias Seattle booze. I'm going to send you that after this show because I couldn't remember immediately after the last one. So, but moving on because there's not much else to say about that other than this what it is. Drew McIntyre, Viking Raiders against Jinder, Shanky, Happy Corbin. I'm as much as I think a lot of this seems like filler. I think everyone in it is doing a great job with it.
I'm fine with it. I'm enjoying it, and the matches are cool. Yeah. So, again,
the only thing that I still have a problem with is the sword. I really think just drop the swinging of the sword, and I think I would like it. I think I would actually really like it.
Just chill out about the sword. I think the sword will be less of a story. I think they're slowly getting rid of the sword. I don't see McIntyre wielding the sword much. You feel like it's happening a lot. I don't think it's happening that much.
It's not happening as much as it was.
Put it in the sheath. It's kind of over and done with. Unless like 8 guys come in and get it out or whatever, but then
and they need to lean on it there. Leave it where he can come out with it.
Yeah,
he needs to never wield it or stick something.
Yeah, unless he's getting like fucking bum rushed by like 8 guys, and then you're
exactly.
It's then totally the equalizer. Yes. And then you're okay with it as a fan, and it helps, because you think it's making McIntyre look like a heel, and I'm saying it's not. It's not. It's not right now.
I think even a step further. Well, further from making it look like a heel, he also comes off looking phony and cartoonish. because you're not actually trying to murder someone by swinging a sword at their head. You're expecting them to move, and that to me is a bother. You know what I mean? But the rest they do it. If they use it as just a prop, then cool.
Yeah, maybe they'll like get rid of it by someone stealing it, and then it'll become its own sub storyline, and that'll be a way to do something with Drew McIntyre that doesn't involve the title or something.
The Jinder story with him before Jinder stole it.
Okay, so this has already happened. I don't even know. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I should write in the past for WWE. I guess.
Yeah, retroactively write storylines. And then Jinder broke it, and then Drew McIntyre gets back on. He goes, "You think I'd bring the real one to the ring?" And it's all like, "Yeah, you have been." He goes, "That was a replica." And I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like, it was a weird thing, but either way, I think they're all doing a good job.
Out of that one, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, here's something I did want to talk to you about, because I want to know what you think about it. The Sami Zayn, Johnny Knoxville stuff. As much as I've been loving all of it, and I do.
Yeah.
Sami came out and said that he wants to prove to Johnny that he doesn't belong in wrestling.
Yeah.
Therefore, he wanted an anything goes match.
Anything goes match, yeah, which is like the dumbest shit. And McAfee crushes it. He goes, Johnny Knoxville's been doing that shit for like 30 fucking years on Jackass.
Yeah.
Brilliant, as Pat will be known as a Hall of Fame in the WWE for the greatest fucking all time. Two times. He'll be fucking 2 times, motherfucker. No, like so fucking. And then Knoxville basically in retort was like exactly what Pat said. I mean, like, Pat could have wrote it for him.
Yeah.
So
that was my only problem with it, is that it made Sami look stupid in a way that he didn't need to look stupid. He can look stupid in a lot of ways. But to say you don't belong here.
You're just pissed.
No, because I think that at the end of the day, if Sami, logically speaking, if he wants to prove Johnny Knoxville, you don't belong in a wrestling ring, and I'm going to prove it, then the story should be that not only is it not anything goes, it's that rules matter, and Johnny keeps breaking rules and nearly getting disqualified. That's the story, right? But to say, I want to prove you don't belong here, so let's just do crazy jackass shit all night, and that'll prove it. And I was like, that doesn't prove what you were saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, logically speaking, he's not proving the thing he's trying to prove. And I think that the character of Sami is, although delusional by a lot, he's not that dumb. So it was a really weird, dumb way to get to that match the way they want it. As a side note, I love the idea of doing the match as an anything goes match. I feel like it should have been Johnny teasing Sami, saying you have to hide behind the rules. I dare you not to. And Sami saying, I don't need the rules. It should have been reversed.
No, I think you missed it, Marsh. I think you missed it, Ref Marsh. This was a great promo by Sami to do that. I liked it. I liked
thought they
it.
both delivered it well. It just didn't make sense in that context.
Justin Time says, can't even imagine what crazy shit Sami and Johnny are going to do to each other. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be awesome. And I actually love that McAfee, like, in his brilliance, called him out. He goes, what are you doing? Like, right away. So I don't think it made look, okay. Yes, Sami doesn't look great in it, but it just makes the match going to be so much cooler in my opinion. So, yeah.
I think this is the outcome we should have had. I think it should have been Knoxville telling Sami not to hide behind the rules, and Sami being crazy and being like, I don't need that. I don't need any. And he could have still gotten the same thing.
You don't like how they got there.
Yeah.
You like the destination, but not the route.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that this is the match we're going to get. I wish it was Johnny outwitting Sami, and
I'm telling
Sami
you,
outwitting himself.
I'm saying you're crazy though, because this is still good, and I don't think it diminished Sami at all. I didn't feel like
long term, no.
I think it actually makes Sami look a little good, honestly.
You think?
Because if he does well in this match or whatever, which I think ultimately we know Knoxville will win, right? I think
he's losing. Knoxville's winning.
Knoxville's winning.
So I think the big question: are they going to use that big giant hand? That slap hand, do you think it's going to be in the match?
Yeah, that has.
I hope to God. Yeah, please bring the giant
that's one
hand.
of the things from Jack. Like, The shit that grosses me out, I don't want to see. Like the fucking death-defying shit. Like I'm all for that shit.
Yes,
so.
that, and it's become so iconic. The giant hand slap thing. If they don't incorporate that, they've missed the whole fucking point.
Yeah, they might. Yeah, I mean, they better reevaluate the analytics they're using to help their focus group come up with.
The second thing I'm thinking, Wee Man shows up and Hornswoggle shows up on Sammy's side.
That would be cool.
If Hornswoggle or if Wee Man shows up to get in Sammy's way and Hornswoggle shows up to get in Wee Man's way, that'd be fucking hysterical.
Yeah, but Hornswoggle's not on the roster, is he?
He's a legend. He comes and goes as ever he pleases. In 2019, he was in the Royal Rumble under the ring for no reason.
Okay.
They could use him for one match, and this would be the match to do it. Have Hornswoggle face to face with Wee Man, and then have Wee Man kick Hornswoggle in the balls, and Sammy's running off anyways.
I don't know. Okay. Alrighty. Oh shit, man.
This is the kind of premier fantasy booking you tune into this show for.
Yeah, I mean, is it fantasy booking though? Because you said he's kind of on the roster as a legend, so
yeah, you work.
You're just spitballing what they should do. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right, but yeah, like we said, love where it's going. There's only two other things I think on this show that I think we really got to dive into. The Sasha Banks Naomi versus Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley.
Oh my god, what a fucking good match! I do not want that match to be done. That match could have went for another 20 minutes. It was such a good match. Just so good. Yep. Did not give a fuck about the storyline compared to how good that match was. I was like, yeah, the storyline's a little thin, but you know what? This fucking match is the shit. It was so good.
It was amazing. And for a match that had a rough start, the very first things that Liv and Sasha did together was really off. And it was almost like, uh-oh, what's up? And then they clicked right after that. They had like two little things that was kind of like, this is what's happening. And then it just became magic the rest of the
I forgot about that. Exactly. Totally. Because of how good and I was like, holy shit, that was the match of the week.
It was amazing. And then Shayna and Natty getting involved. Dude, Natty looks... Is it just me? Or does Natty look more like a fucking badass when she's in street clothes than when she's in her gear?
I don't know. I think she's a badass, period.
Yes.
So I don't know if what you're saying is true. She always comes across as a badass, and with her and Baszler, I was like, that's a fucking cool team up. I'm excited.
Yep. Oh yeah, it's cool. I just think that in her gear, she looks like a good wrestler.
I was mad at
them. For whatever reason, and her in those jeans and that top that kind of was like a Dickies sort of workshop type top, but made for a woman who's not trying to work. Like, I just thought she looked like a fucking mean motherfucker. I was like, wow. As soon as she came out, I was like, I would not want to cross her. She looks like she could take my head off.
Well, I was pissed because they interrupted that fucking incredible match, but then I was like happy because they did such a good job doing it.
Exactly.
So, yeah, because I did not want that match to be over. I wish they were. I was okay with them being the ones. In fact, I was like, at first I was like, motherfucker, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. But I would have liked that match to have been about 5 more minutes because that was so good.
And I think there's a real delicate balance that we start to see. We start to see it around this time for sure.
Right, it's tough. It was good. I don't want to take away. You're right. I mean, just appreciate it for the great match it was and what we got.
But I think that what I'm saying is I think that there's a really delicate balance between teasing something that's coming and overdoing something so we don't care when it shows. And I think this is one of those instances where they did it right, where it's a nice tease of, I want more of this. So by the time we get to Mania, we want that match. Where I think that there's certain matches where we've seen different iterations of it so many times that now I'm kind of burnt out and we haven't even got to the match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a delicate balance of teasing and burning out, and you're doing kind of relatively the same thing, but how does it work with one versus the other? And I think that this specific storyline with the women's tag team, I think they're absolutely nailing it, where I can't wait for this Fatal 4-Way at Mania
Yeah.
And every time I get a match that ends in disqualification, I go, God, I want to see the full match. You know what I mean? Like, I just get more excited. Where other ones, it's all like there's so many disqualifications that I don't even care anymore. I don't care anymore. Right. It's a weird balance. And this is one they're nailing.
Yeah, no, I got you. I'm excited. Like I'm always pretty stoked about the women's matches just because what I feel like we've seen from them is they already know they're gonna have less time, so their quality is just so good. Unless, it's Charlotte. Yeah. And I have a diatribe. I have a little soapbox on that we got to talk about later. But
all right, definitely. Let's see. All right, so here's where the next thing happens. The next big thing. They show the Knoxville video package. It goes back to the desk, and Michael Cole says, "Hey, I'm being told in my ear right now you're being summoned to Vince McMahon's office." And Pat.
Yep.
Pat. He just looks at him and goes, "We're live, fool." And then Michael Cole's all like, "No, you're being summoned and you have to go." And he looks and he's like, "Are you on drugs right now?" Like, Michael Cole's like, "I am not. You need to go." And he's all like, he takes his headset off and he looks at him and he's like, "Are you serious right now? Do I have to do this?"
Yeah.
I'm saying that to say, like,
good style job, and he came out.
It was incredible.
He came out later in the show, kind of like all bummed out. Pat's a good actor too. He's good. He's good at his craft, and I mean, we're just fucking lucky. I think we're just lucky.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I want to give 2 criticisms to the McAfee segment.
Okay.
And I want you to let me finish. Because I know that you're going to defend him at all costs, and I don't.
No, go. I'll let you finish. Yeah, I'll let you finish.
Here's my 2 criticisms. For a dude who comes off so natural all the time, especially even that part. When he cut his promo, it came off a little too rehearsed for me. But
which one?
The promo, this one against Austin Theory, where he was all like, "I have a dream. I'm doing the thing."
Oh, I fucking love. Are you? Okay, I said I'd let you finish.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Let me finish. I loved it, but it came off a little too rehearsed for a guy who comes off so perfect natural. But what it did do to me is it made me think about how much he fucking cares. I think that the only reason it came off rehearsed is because he wanted it so badly to be perfect and to be right, and I even loved that aspect of it. So even the criticism of it came off a little rehearsed still made me love it more. Because it was like, man, he wants this to be perfect, and he nailed it, and it was so fucking good. But I think you can tell when he's coming off the cuff and when he's not, if that makes sense. I think he's doing amazing, and I love his passion for it, and I think it's great. It just didn't feel like all the other stuff he says and does that comes off the cuff, even when it comes off like he's thought it before. Again, amazing. I loved it. And then the only other criticism I really had was he turned his back on Austin Theory for like a long time. And I just don't know why. I can't tell if it was because shit was phony and he knew Austin wouldn't do anything, or because he was subtly egging on Austin Theory to do something to give him a reason to fight him. You know what I mean? But it was like his back being turned to his opponent, his aggressor, for a long time was a little weird. But it wasn't the worst thing. It didn't ruin it by any means at all.
The only thing I have a problem with this whole okay, so I can't argue the rehearse thing, but I'm going to put it to you in this context. He runs promos every day on his show.
Yeah.
Like, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's how he rehearsed.
Yeah.
So I think he did that 100% off the cuff. It was fucking awesome. It was the greatest promo of all time until that fucking bitch ass Austin Theory fucking interrupted it. Because we would have got millions and millions. I mean, he had the fucking crowd doing what? It was so fucking good.
Dude, and the what just didn't phase him. They didn't phase him. When he heard the what's, he kind of smirked and said, "Here it is."
No, he knew he wanted the what's. I can tell you, they say what every fucking day on the show. What? I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
like, I'm telling you.
Did want
it is in his lexicon every fucking day. He is about that shit, my man. 100 fucking %.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he even did it. He said, "Give me a hell yeah," and it crushed the what chance because
Yeah,
said, hell
I'm fucking telling you, he does it all. When you say rehearsed, like he rehearsed it, yeah, he's been rehearsing it for the 3 fucking years he's done his show because that has been a part of his show on the Pat McAfee show. If you don't know, Monday through Friday comes on at 8 for me and goes to 11.
Yeah,
you guys figure out the time difference. It is the shit. I guess that would be noon to 4 on the East Coast. Okay. So the best fucking show ever in the history of radio shows. No holds barred, as the great Al Michaels said. He's been rehearsing those promos. Now he just gets to focus it on Austin Theory. So I think what he did out there was all impromptu, off the cuff, and it was awesome until that douchebag selfies taking fucking millennial fuck Austin Theory shows up and ruins it.
I did get a kick out of though where so McAfee does his like, "I'm sorry, you're a little bitch, and I apologize for you sucking ass."
That was awesome. Yeah.
But my favorite part was he said that shit, and then Austin Theory smiles and then goes, "You apologize." You said, "I'm sorry." And fucking off.
No, that was great, and it counted.
I'm counting it.
Like,
I take
it.
Well,
because were you a little bit? I was starting to get concerned that they were gonna fire McAfee like kayfabe fire.
Oh yeah.
Motherfucker. And Corey fucking Graves on Raw, he needs to shut his fucking mouth. Corey Graves, I see what you're doing, and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Some notable lines I wanted to talk about real quick. Oh, you want to hit the chat real fast?
Justin Time says, Theory has to get some credit as well for making himself hated so much, as you want to see him getting punched in the face.
He's done a great
Justin
job.
Time, you are not wrong.
Yeah.
That is 100% correct. But I would hate him anyway because he fucking bitch slapped Pat, and you just don't fucking go there.
Yeah.
Like, I would have,
Hall of Famer.
I might have jumped out of the stands and like been a part of the show and cold cocked Austin Theory if I'd seen him slap Pat. Yeah. I'm just telling you. I might have fucking like drop kicked that motherfucker. And I probably would be banned from WWE events forever. Because if I'd have been there in person, I might have fucking Superman punched that bitch.
Just flying off the top.
Dude, they're saying Pat's, this I don't like, Ref Mark. I don't like this about the storyline. They're saying Pat's unprofessional, but did Pat put his face in front of Austin Theory stand so you get slapped? Austin Theory just comes out and slaps him because he interviewed Vince. One of the greatest interviews of all time of Vince.
So, as far as that unprofessionalness, I will say that
throw that down.
If you whether we agree or not, the argument is whether or not was it unprofessional or such, right? So, if you're in, let's say, a bar and a dude punches you in the face, if you're not in Texas, there is no stand your ground law. If you fight back, you're now equally as culpable. Think about it, even in students in school. If a kid gives you a wedgie and you beat the shit out of that kid,
you're breaking this down way. It can't be this fucking complex. No, I mean, I just don't like. Throw the fucking unprofessionalism out. We don't need it. He slapped.
You're both culpable. I think it's a little weird they're not coming down on Austin Theory for sure.
That's what I'm saying. It makes it like it's that whole fucking unprofessional argument look dumb. We don't need it anyway. You slap Pat. We want him to beat his fucking ass.
Yeah, do both. I think there should have been like a dual sorry thing. Yeah.
Right. But I don't think, we don't need the fucking Pat is unprofessional bullshit. And I see what you're doing, Corey Graves, and I don't like it.
3 lines in there I wanted to mention. 4 lines, actually. I thought it was really peculiar that Pat McAfee said, and I tuned into a no-name network, the USA Network. Is that just a dig against Raw?
I think it was just, Pat described his childhood. Because I think a lot of people didn't know what USA Network was back in the day.
At the time?
Yeah. No, it wasn't.
Raw put USA Network on the map?
I think yes. I think Raw did what put USA, at 1,000,000%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just asking about
it. I happen to know what USA Network was because I was a little horny kid and they had this show called Up All Night and they'd always show like it was never nudity because it was cable, like not pay for a cable, but like, I mean, you get a little every once in a while headlights, headlights, you know.
Isn't that where Taxi Cab Confessions had it start?
Yeah, I think something. I thought that was HBO, but I don't know.
You're right. I don't know.
Yeah.
La Femme Nikita was. I know that Pac Blue was on there, and that was horny.
Yeah. Exactly. There was definitely a target audience, and it was males going through puberty for fucking sure. Okay, I know. Like so I do think that Raw was probably the WWE probably did put USA Network on is probably their highest rated show. I believe that wrestling is and has, other than when Monday night went to cable, had, you know, all the football records, the NFL football records on cable, they broke wrestling records. Yeah, those are the records they broke. Wrestling always had the high ratings and stuff. So yeah, I wasn't I think that was like actually a homage to the, like, you know, that was past fan. Yes, go ahead though. I continue on.
I love it. No, I love it. That's what I was asking for, because in my mind I was kind of like, what? And I was trying to sort it out. I think you were talking me through it. I loved, and a lot of people were talking about it, how he said, the first time I saw professional wrestling, and everyone's like, oh God, WWE's professional wrestling again. It just made me laugh. But it was cool, and it felt real. I love his comment saying other professions got in the way. Like being in the NFL and going to the Super Bowl was a hurdle to get to WWE. Loved it. And then I did like also, he said, I got a call from the greatest of all time, Michael Cole, and the crowd cheered. I love it.
Yeah, that was fucking cool. Yeah. That was a Pat being, you know, because he says horrible shit about Cole on the broadcast, but that was fucking so cool. That was such a cool special moment where Pat is shouting out his broadcast partner and friend, Michael Cole, like saying, hey, you are the fucking Gay-08, the greatest of all time. And I love Jim Ross, but Michael Cole's fucking awesome.
He's underrated for sure.
I've liked him since fucking day one. Like, he was on the Attitude Era.
Yep. He
was in fucking one of the sideline guys. He's awesome, dude. Yep. And that guy seems like a legit dude. And I love him, man. Yeah, and he's been on Pat's show, and it's just been cool to get to know that guy. I'm a big fan, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I love it.
And I thought that was such a fucking cool moment. I'm glad you brought that up, Ref Marsh, because I forgot about that.
Yeah, when I saw that, I remember, because he's like the greatest Michael Cole, and I was like, oh shit, what are they gonna do? And the crowd they cheered, and I was like, I love that they're just throwing flowers at him. You know, I love it.
He deserves it, man. Even if you don't think he is, even if you're a Jim Ross guy, fucking Michael Cole deserves some adulation. There's always a second guy that transcends that thing, and he's that guy, man.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, and it came across also as we move on a little bit towards Kofi Kingston and Ridge Holland. They showed all that Big E stuff and Big E breaking his neck and the videos that he did, and it was crazy. And Michael Cole did everything he could. It was cool. And Michael Cole, again, stepped in and did everything he could to try and make sure the fans don't blame Ridge Holland and get mad at him. He started saying about how Holland...
Even though I totally blame Ridge Holland, and I'm mad at Ridge Holland.
But Michael Cole was saying that Holland was there and apologized and was with him and never wanted anything like that to happen and never did it intentionally. Like,
dude,
Michael Cole was doing everything he could.
Dude, I honestly, like... I was good. I'm glad you brought this up too, because I forgot about that. But I was like, yeah, fuck you, Ridge Holland. And then I was like, oh man, sorry, Ridge Holland.
Mm-hmm. It sucks. This is your legacy as of right now.
No, but I mean, like, I felt like it was cool that Michael Cole. I thought that was a really cool way to kind of deflame that fucking controversy.
Yes.
You know, and that they stood by Big E, of course, but also, hey, like, Ridge Holland is one of our own too, and we're with him. He feels fucking terrible about it and understands why there's some vitriol that might be going his way. And, it doesn't hurt that the guy is not from America, right? Already you're probably not liked by a lot of fans if you're a foreign wrestler. So
yeah. And the other thing he did that night.
But fuck you, Rich Holland. No,
yeah,
sorry.
At one point during the women's tag match, Pat McAfee said that Charlotte was behind Sasha Banks. And there was a pause for a fraction of a second because he goes because Pat McAfee just says it. Charlotte completely behind Sasha Banks right now. And then McAfee, with almost barely a beat, just goes, Charlotte, North Carolina, where we're coming to you live from. And I was all like, wow.
Yeah,
because the second Pat said that, me and producer lady looked at each other and we went, Charlotte's behind Sasha?
Yeah,
and
but you forgot it was in North Carolina. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. That was a really good way for Pat to shout out where they were at.
It was a good way for Pat to shout out where he's at, but he also failed to say North Carolina, which was a way to confuse the audience to think Charlotte Flair instead of Charlotte, North Carolina. And
I never once saw Charlotte Flair, but yeah,
I did for sure. And it was a great way for Michael Cole to catch Pat McAfee in that one little bit that might confuse people that he didn't realize might confuse people. So it was kind of like a dual-sided.
I just thought that was just awesome announcing cohesiveness at its best. And they did
100%.
They did.
I don't think it did on purpose. I don't think so at all. I think McAfee said Charlotte, and I think that Michael Cole caught right away.
100%.
Fans might miss that.
No, 100%.
I love
100%. They did it on purpose.
There's such a
100%. That's why we love it. We're talking about it. It was good. They did it on purpose.
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they say about live TV, right? Nothing happens on accident on live TV.
Yeah, they fucking did it. They did that shit on purpose, dude. Yeah,
and
that just shows how fucking good they are as a
together.
Yes. And we have to have that for a long time now, because Pat loves it, and I don't think he wants to stop doing it.
I don't want him to ever stop.
I want him to do it as long as he loves doing it. You know,
as long anything. Oh yeah, 100%. And let's see, anything that you had to say about Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey as we?
Yeah. Oh, I do. I think I texted you. I was so upset about this match. Charlotte fucking Flair, take a fucking bump for Ronda fucking Rousey. She fucking deserves it. You should show her the fucking in-ring respect that has been shown to you by Becky Lynch and the other woman that's wrestled you, where you don't take a bump. You're like the fucking Terminator through every fucking offensive throw from your opponent. And if they laid their best move on, you're still like, oh, that barely fazed me. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. I do not get that at all.
Yeah.
Why is she still in the WWE? It's awful.
Here's the part that confuses me the most. And I don't want us to spend all night harping on it because it just is what it is and it's personal opinion and that's all it ever will be. Right? But the part that confuses me the most is you and me and Kev and Justin and Bishop and a ton of fans that I know watch Charlotte Flair and we all say the same thing. She's not doing what others are doing. She's not putting other people first. She's selfish.
Dude, make her watch Mr. Fucking Perfect sell something, okay? Because she is the anti-Mr. Perfect. She is literally does not sell. Does she understand she's supposed to make your fucking opponent look like they're actually good? Because if you make them look like shit and then you beat them, then you're just beating shit. Are you good? I mean, I don't understand what her fucking logic is. She needs to get over her fucking self. Because she does seem like, to me, she's got such potential to be awesome. But she's not awesome. She's far from it. And it's on, dude, we talked about getting up and leaving. I'm going to go get a pickle from the fridge while you talk about Charlotte. Because I fucking don't
And a quick shout out to Scott Hall. He's talked about it before that he learned how to sell through Kurt Hennig when they were a team because he said that if you're going to beat me, you're going to beat me. Like, you're not going to kick out at 3 1/4 or some shit. He was like, I'll sit there and lay out all night long until they come down to tear down the ring because they're going to make it matter, right? So it's nice that you point out the Mr. Perfect stuff because Scott Hall throughout his entire life always credited Mr. Perfect for why he sold the way he did. Even Justin Times in the chat says Charlotte or Ronda didn't really bump for each other. It almost feels like Ronda is giving Charlotte a taste of her own medicine, but it still looks ridiculous that neither one of them sold anything during that brawl. I will say, except for the table spot at the end. And I think part of that, Justin, might just be a rush of time. They had all of 30 seconds to get all that in and end in a table spot. Sometimes the no-selling is a response to time and trying to get your shit in. I will say it felt that way, if you wanted another example, which you didn't ask for. If you look at the cage match between Thunder and Britt, a lot of people were talking about the no-selling of the end of the match. I think it was a rush to get through the spots to get to the end of the match more so than the latter. But, yeah, sometimes it comes off that way for sure. Here's the thing that I get confused about is like I was saying, Beard, that a lot of us feel that way and talk that way about it. But then you hear a giant sect of fans who just say, as soon as Charlotte does anything, they just regurgitate out, Charlotte is literally the greatest to ever do this on any level and no one's in a class of her. And that's the part that confuses me because I feel like it's a regurgitation of something that
there is nobody that awful at taking bumps and selling her opponent.
Right, but what I'm saying
There's never been somebody that terrible.
Okay, but what I'm saying is I feel like it almost comes off to me as a regurgitation of what someone else told them that they feel is in high regard. Let's take Bully Ray, for example. He's on Busted Open, and he's constantly saying Charlotte's the absolute best. I feel like some fans listen to Bully Ray say that, and they go, well, he knows what he's talking about, so if I think different, then I'm stupid. So I have to agree with that. But I feel like objectively, if you watch her and what she's doing, it's hard to show that. It's hard to, point at something and say, look at this good thing here. The promos come off cold. They come off rehearsed. They come off childish. The bumps come off non-existent. The selling's just not there.
Yeah.
It's a weird... I feel like, to me, the most fascinating thing about Charlotte is the dichotomy of people who watch Charlotte. You either say she's the worst because you just don't see anything good or valuable there, or people say she's the absolute best, and I'll be honest, the people who say that, I don't understand what they're seeing.
They're fucking insane.
Well,
You're a fucking moron. You are a fucking moron if you think what she's doing is good. There's nothing good about her. And and you know why I know that? Because she's too athletically gifted to be that fucking awful. Mm. You can see her when she wants to.
Yeah.
Make herself look good, she'll look incredible. What she doesn't understand is if she doesn't make her opponent look good, she doesn't look that good. Therefore, like I said, anybody that's saying anything about her about being a goat of anything is way off, unless she's the goat of being terrible, because she is the fucking worst. It is not fun. It is. I mean, Kev said this last episode, right? That's when he goes to the bathroom. Sorry.
Yeah. I stopped paying attention with her for sure. I did hear someone say recently that they thought that Charlotte was the best female performer of the year last year because they said, this is what they said, because she's volatile. You don't know what you're going to get. If she's into it, you get one thing. If she's not into it, you get another thing. And that was their argument on why they thought she was the best. And in my mind, I was going, but that's the literal argument of why someone's not good, is that they're volatile. You want a level of consistency.
You know what? There is a point to that, though. A lot of the fucking rock stars became rock stars because they, only wanted brown M&Ms and shit. Mm. I mean, sometimes you get the reputation of being a terrible person because you are one. But, maybe you're just playing one. I don't know. That might be. And that I get that, I guess. All right. I mean, Justin Time says, easiest way to put it, all the praise she's gotten over the years has gone to her head and inflated her ego at the same time. That's probably what's happened. That makes sense.
I can't argue.
Honestly, I don't care. It's just horrible, and I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
And she won't beat Ronda anyway. I'm 100% convinced Ronda wins that match. So
She should. It'll be Charlotte's first loss at... Well, no, I guess Charlotte lost the triple threat at Mania. It'll be Charlotte's first one-on-one loss in Mania, which is something. Let's move on to Raw. Overall, just because this is a conversation I see online from time to time, do you think Raw has been a solid show in the past few months? Or do you think it's hard to get through?
Yeah, it's been okay.
I think it's been solid. I think it's been good.
Yeah, I got nothing to ride. No, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. So it opened up.
Last Raw was awesome.
Yeah, I thought this one was great, and I thought it had
the AJ fucking versus Seth Rollins thing. That was fucking awesome.
So
and then Edge came in and wrecked that too. And I mean, like, not mad at Edge.
Nope.
But would have liked to have seen that go 5 minutes more. You know what I'm saying? What a great match. Fucking awesome. I love what they're doing with Seth Rollins because they don't have a plan for Seth Rollins. So let's make the story that we don't have a plan for Seth Rollins until we fucking figure out a story for Seth Rollins, essentially. But
dude, here's my favorite part about
still really fun.
My favorite part about Seth Rollins' story is that right now he keeps trying to take other people's stories. Like, he's just going over and saying, hey, you've been building this rivalry for a few months. I'll just take that.
They don't know what to do with them, Rap Bar.
I know, but I think it's hysterical that his view is like, hey, they have a rivalry. I'll just take that one, like, from a character standpoint. And my favorite part of all of it is that it's such a fucking outrageous concept to be like, well, you guys have a beef, so if I just take it over, then that should be fine, right? Because it'll be just as cool. And the fact that Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville are, like, indulging that. My favorite part of every segment with Seth Rollins at this point is how he sees a storyline that's ongoing, tries to hijack it, and then the powers that be say, we like that idea. My favorite part is watching the opponent, the Kevin Owens or the AJ Styles, go, what the fuck is happening? Because they play it so well, where they're just all like, what? Why would you indulge this at all?
Does this become such a popular storyline that they put him in the championship match with Brock and Roman?
No, I think it'd be more likely they give him an open challenge. Hey, we'll put you on there, and anyone who wants to come out and have a match with you can.
Gable Stevenson?
And then you get a Gable pop or a Cody pop or something like that. Yeah, Gable. Oh, but dude, I was going to say earlier, because I forgot to finish it, someone I saw made a comment where they thought it was a smart-ass funny response to say, watch the Seth match end up being against Gable Stevenson, and then Seth Rollins takes the pin. And I was like, that's actually a good idea. Have Seth on a series of losses trying to get himself into WrestleMania, weasel himself in there, end up with Gable Stevenson, put Gable through an incredible match, and put over Gable. It's not going to hurt Seth. And it's going to make Gable look like 1,000... Look amazing.
I hope that happens.
I absolutely hope that happens.
If that doesn't happen now, I think I'll be really disappointed.
I know. And the person said it like it was a smart-ass thing, and they even put laughy emojis like, wouldn't that be stupid? And I was like, no, that's a great idea. Have Seth Rollins on the hunt for WrestleMania.
Yeah, good idea,
kid. Get it because of Gable, and have Seth Rollins put Gable over. That's perfect.
Yeah. Hey, also, we should start a website for the Charlotte fans so we know they're out there, because I just don't know that they're out there.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, they're all in the media.
I believe in aliens before I believe in Charlotte Flair fans.
I'll tell you, the majority of Charlotte Flair fans I see are people who are like media-driven. People who are told to like her, more or less.
You also question their sanity, though. Like, if you were in a locked room with them and they had, like, a lethal weapon in their hand, would you trust yourself with them?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, let's talk about how Raw opened up. It opened with the glass shattering. Dun-dun.
Hated it, and loved it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Here's what I would have liked to have seen. The second time he broke the glass and he was like, psych, I was like, okay, I love it. But then do it a third time and actually have Stone Cold come out.
It'd have been nice to see Stone Cold.
Well, and then I think it would have been a fair payoff to those fans that got jerked around a little bit. Because I actually felt bad for the fans there. Because they legit thought Stone Cold was there.
Yeah.
until fucking Kevin Owens dressed as Stone Cold, and then you could see like a lot of them looked really disappointed. Even the cameras couldn't hide that. I felt bad for that fucking. So I thought it would have been really cool to be like, and then they heard the second one, and they're like, and he'd be like, I got you, and then the third, and actually having Stone Cold come out, even if it was just run out, fucking smack Kevin Owens in the face, run it, stun him, get the fuck out. Nothing huge. Kevin Owens would have sold bigger than shit. And I thought Chicago, big enough fan. Was it Chicago, correct?
Yeah, it was Chicago.
Big wrestling fucking, always used to say those were the loudest ones in the old Chicago stadium and stuff. 100%. I would have loved to see that. Other than that, I didn't have a problem with it.
I loved it. Here's why I loved that they did that to the Chicago crowd of all crowds. One, here's Kevin Owens getting some real fucking heat. Because Kevin Owens is fresh off a babyface run, more or less.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were saying, well, how is he going to turn heel so fast as to get in a program with Stone Cold because someone's going to boo Stone Cold? Well, this is how you do it.
Took a week. He's been doing it for like a month and a half now. It took no time. He did it quick.
Time. Yeah,
he did it quick.
But the reason I liked that it was Chicago is because of how much I hate Chicago as a crowd. Because Chicago is the one crowd that for 8 years, anytime anything happened in a segment with anybody of power, any Triple H, any Vince, any Stephanie, anytime they were slightly bored, they would chant CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
So loud. And he would obviously never show up because he didn't give a fuck. He's never cared about his fans. Yeah. So, for them to get this, we're going to make you think it's Stone Cold, and then we're not going to give you Stone Cold. For me, I'm so happy it was in Chicago and nowhere else. Because Chicago's the one fan base that has ruined fucking programs before by chanting something so meaningless as CM Punk.
So you're saying they did that shit on purpose?
I'm saying I hope they did it on purpose.
Fuck you to Chicago.
Yeah, fuck you, Chicago.
Remember all those CM Punk chants, you motherfuckers?
Yep.
How you liking them on AEW?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is CM Punk doing good on AEW?
Not really.
Okay. You heard it from Ref Marsh?
Yeah. I mean, this last program he did with MJF was good. Everything before that's been kind of like meh. Really meh. Matter of fact, my brother started watching AEW because of CM Punk. And I asked him, I was like, hey, has anything happened on there been impressive that I should make sure I catch? And he went, I wouldn't say impressive. And I went, okay, well, it is what it is. Now, the MJF stuff he's been doing has been impressive. However, yeah, it's been kind of is what it is. So I love that it was the Chicago crowd because of the pettiness, because of how many times they're in that arena and they chant CM Punk during women's matches and shit. For them to get teased by Stone Cold and not get Stone Cold, I loved it. I loved it from an at-home viewership point.
I just was saying I would have appreciated the KO promo even more because it was good. It was hilarious. It was brilliant. Everything he did, I liked. And I was like, hey, I could actually pull being Stone Cold off for Halloween and not shave my beard.
Yep. Yeah, because now you could do Kevin Owens as Stone Cold.
And I don't have to put a bald cap on because I have that down already.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, get a couple knee braces, some jean shorts, you're golden.
I can be Kevin Owens portraying Stone Cold for Halloween.
Yeah. And then you can put a bald cap over your bald head.
Yeah, I need some jorts. I got the Stone Cold shirt, and I got the Stone Cold hat.
Yeah.
And then I need a couple of shitty knee braces, one that's like flopping in the breeze and shit.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. It'll be great, dude.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that as a way to open the show, dude. Absolutely loved it.
Right.
Let's see. Mysterios and Ziggler, Robert Roode. I liked all that. I honestly did. I like them coming out of the NXT Championship.
No, I'm excited for The Miz and Logan Paul in the Mysterios. That's going to be a good match. And I guess everybody hates the Paul brothers. They're going to be the heels, and they're going to get paid to do it, and they're going to get paid a lot to do it, and people are going to hate them for it, and they're going to laugh all the way to the bank.
I agree with all that. Yeah.
No.
Justin Time does say in the chat though that he would actually prefer be Gable Stevenson than Cody. Rollins would make him look $1 million like Dominic did in his first match. Yeah, 100%. I think at this point I'd rather it be Gable than Cody anyways.
You mean Gable against Seth Rollins?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's fucking do that. That sounds great. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I love it.
Dude, the Cody Rhodes stuff is fantasy booking. We know Gable Stevenson's on the roster. He's going to wrestle somebody.
Not only is it fantasy,
we don't know about Cody
Rhodes. It
Rhodes.
doesn't feel like purposeful.
What?
It's not only is it fantasy booking, it feels like without purpose. Like, even just imagine, let's say Cody Rhodes shows up for an open challenge. Why should I care? You know what I mean? But Gable Steveson, why should I care? Is because he's a fucking legit gold medalist and 2-time NCAA champion going against Seth Rollins, one of the greatest in the world. That's something to consider. Like, I don't know why I should care about Cody versus Seth without any build.
I guarantee you if Cody's signed with the WWE, they're not going to debut him before WrestleMania. Because they've already had what they've been planning for too long now. I just think.
It's hard to say for me. I could see them doing a bunch of stuff here, but at the same time,
because Cody just left AEW like a month ago, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so the WWE has been building the fucking WrestleMania ticket long before a month ago.
For sure.
And I just don't think even if they signed Cody Rhodes, he would be a part of it.
I think I think I would prefer Cody debut on the Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And cut a promo that makes me care that he's here than have him just show up and have a match against Seth for no reason.
That's more likely, I think, too. I think we're saying the same exact fucking thing.
Yeah.
That's what should happen, and I think that's more likely what will happen.
And I think I'd be happier with that. I'd rather see Seth and Gable than see Seth at Cody this year. I wouldn't mind seeing Seth and Cody next year, but I don't know why I should give a shit Cody is here yet. Especially from a fan base that doesn't all watch AEW. Think about it just from numbers perspective. You have over twice the viewership as AEW on a good night. Like, they don't all watch, so they don't all care. That you got to get them. You got to feed them a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see.
So,
yeah.
Speaking of Justin Time and his terrible takes, you'd almost swear he had the Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast, but he doesn't. He has In-Time Wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
Omos versus Commander Aziz. I want to know what you think, Beard, about Omos as a talent.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, give him time. I think it's always so much harder for the big guys.
Yeah.
Because they already are intimidating, so they have to be good on the promos. The Undertaker didn't have to be good on promos because you just play this magnanimous character that doesn't fucking talk, who just, murders family, whatever, the whole mystique of the Undertaker. That was the brilliance of that promo, is he didn't have to do much. Yeah. He wasn't until he did American Badass and all the other shit. Mm-hmm. Where we actually, like, the Mark Calloway character came out a little bit more. But really, that was an easy character to play. So, I think Omos, he's just got to find his niche there. And, once he learns to run a promo, he'll be fine, And I like what he does in the ring, and he's intimidating. Yeah. And AJ helped him, I think it was time for that to broke up, and it was good. And I like them actually really enjoy it because of Justin Time, watching AJ like transform into a babyface again. Yeah. And I'm just enjoying that whole thing. And then of course they don't know what the fuck to do with Seth Rollins at all. They still don't know. Hopefully Gable Steveson would be real cool.
So Justin had in his Twitter feed, he thought there's no place for the big giant in wrestling anymore.
I don't agree with that. I don't. And Omos could be like, they could make a remake of fucking The Princess Bride. He could play Andre's character, man. He seems like that gregarious to me. Like, he probably is a really nice, funny guy. I think they should turn Omos babyface, actually. I think it would do him good. I think it would help him with the promo stuff, because it's easy to be a heel, right? I think being an asshole, it was like, oh, I just have to be an asshole and I can do this. Okay, I think it's easier. It becomes easier in nature. I think it would be good to see him as a babyface. And because there is already a shortage of babyfaces in the WWE, he could do some damage.
Yeah.
You know, he could be a guy that could go up against Roman. I would believe it right now. So I want to see that. That would be cool. I mean, I'm not saying, I just think they can. Yes, we already know he's this unbeatable Colossus. Let's show that he has like a heart of gold. He's like this really great guy.
Do you think his matches are boring? Do you think his match with Aziz was boring?
No, I like him. I mean, I don't think he's ever gotten really long matches anyway. They just haven't gotten a lot of time. But again, that's probably a way of getting him over is just by making him short. He's dominating. Ram, doom, done over.
And feats of strength, I think, still go a long way. Like picking up a guy the size of Aziz is incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was impressive. Didn't he like KOD him or some shit? I don't know. That was really crazy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Man.
No, I agree with you. I don't agree with Justin. I don't think that there's no space for giants. I think that the mentality of there's no space for giants in the giant way of working is the same mentality that is the more flips, the better. You know what I mean? Where your focus is on the moves, not about the story. The story of a big lumbering colossus that is going to take a lot to take out is an important story there just because, I mean, people still talk about Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant being one of the most important matches to WWE of all time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is. If you don't believe it is, you don't know the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
It is. It's very important.
And the idea that Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant, I know people contest it all the time because they talk about how Harley Race body slammed him and how he wasn't the first one to body slam him. And sure, that's not in the WWE lexicon. He was the first one to do it in WWE. So the first time it was really televised.
Yeah.
It still made it a big deal. Because at the same time, think about shit that happens now in house shows that are not televised. You know, does that make it part of the lexicon or no? It was a really big deal.
Probably
and I think
helps
someone goes over.
It probably helps the mythos or whatever, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like if it gets done in the indies a lot and then it happens on the grand scale, it probably means a lot to all the people that love those moments from the indies, right? That also watch wrestling. Just thinking.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, I just want to throw that there. I want to know what you thought about it as someone especially who is kind of fresher mindseted than
I mean, I want to see what he can do. I'm willing to give him a chance, and I don't hate him. You know,
and I know Undertaker said that it almost is the closest thing that he's seen to Andre since Andre.
And I heard Omos took that like really to heart. Like that was a really nice thing. Yeah. I think we actually talked about that on the show before.
I think so too.
Episode 1 in the past. Yeah,
probably episode 1.
Yeah.
Natalya and Shayna against Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, Queen Zelina and Carmella being involved.
Awesome.
I loved all of it, man.
Again, match was too short. So good.
Carmella coming out and complaining to Corey during the other match. So fucking funny, dude.
Yeah. They're doing a good job, man. That's what I said.
Yeah.
Like, they don't need to have any other storylines, Corey Graves. I see what you're doing, and I don't like it.
Carmella is so high level obnoxious. I think people could study her work.
She's good, man. And it's not obnoxious if you appreciate what she's doing. I love it. It's good. I like her. I fucking hated her when I first came over, too, man. I was like, oh, I don't like this chick at all. She's like the leftovers of the Divas era. And then you were like, no, give her a chance, blah, blah, blah. And then you like, I got to learn about the person behind the character, too. And now I think she's a sweetheart, man. I'm a big fan of her.
Oh, for sure.
She could go back on another title run. She's doing so good.
Yeah.
I wanted to say this. I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah. She should give Bianca a run when Bianca beats Becky 2 belts or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. And when I say she's obnoxious, I don't say that in a negative way. I say that.
No, I know you don't. I know you don't because I know you love Carmella. Yeah, I didn't think you were coming from that. No, I thought you were coming from you were praising how well she's doing. You are fucking correct. Yeah.
Because she does shit that I find so fucking annoying, and I can't help but laugh because of how much I like her as a person and as a talent.
Yeah. I don't even think it's annoying.
I'm all like, you say what?
I don't think it's annoying. I think it's an awesome story. It's fucking good. It's a good way to have her be fucking a terrible partner. And it's awesome. It's a great way to make her a heel without her she's like the oblivious heel. Yeah. It's even that I think it's even harder to pull off. I love it. I think it's fucking brilliant.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's great. She's great.
Yeah. She's incredible, man. Yeah. You got me. It didn't take very long for me to come around on her. You know, like you were like, no, give her a chance because this, and this. And I was like, oh, okay. She seems like a really good person. Of course, I'm not watching all the Corey and Carmella, but I watched the first 5 episodes. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's cute and funny and goofy, but I hate reality TV for the most part. So, you know, I already like them, you know, for the most part. Corey Graves, I see what you're doing, and I don't like it.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Becky Lynch promo?
Yeah, you know, I actually thought she came across a little whiny, honestly. I was like, I mean, I think the crowd really hated her. Which I think if that's what the intent was, she did a really, really fucking good job then. Because I was like, I hate you, and I want you to not be on the TV for a while, which is probably gearing her up for be a little bit of a mama break or something, which is fine. She's going to get Bianca over, which Bianca deserves, you know, 100%. You're not a fan if you don't love it. I mean, you can just see the fans are behind her. It was the right decision to do what they did. Yeah. I think the Bianca Belair fans came back in force and are like, yeah, we want Bianca back. And I think this match could be one of the greatest matches of all time. I'm that excited about it.
I think it could be great. And I think that this Becky Lynch promo was maybe the single greatest promo she's ever cut to date. I thought it was fucking phenomenal. I don't. Yeah. Did you ever watch? I believe it was like 92 or 93. There was a movie called The Lawnmower Man.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie. Stephen King. Yeah.
Incredible.
Jeff Fahey. I know that movie.
I felt like at this point, Becky almost shifted into a higher gear where she was like half Thanos and half Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, it was a good promo. Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, dude, I'm way. I guess I'm a little blown away that you said it's the greatest promo she's ever done, because you've seen all of her stuff, and I know you're a big fan. So I'm like, wow, he thinks that highly of that promo. I have to go back and watch it again, because I was like, oh, she's really coming across like a scumbag, and I really hate her right now. So
she clicked into a high level delusional and a high level self-importance, and that's what I mean. Like, at the end, he goes, "I am a god in this universe."
Yeah, no, it was really
like, that's what
bad.
It felt like she clicked on.
Oh, I mean, I'm telling you, like, if there were fans of her that were there and heard that, and I think they probably stopped being fans of her. Like, and that if that's what she's trying to do, like that. I mean, yes, I agree 100% with what you're saying. It was epic. Yeah, but that's why I'm like, oh man, he thinks it's the best she's ever done. But I agree with everything you're saying. That is exactly what she portrayed, for sure.
It came across to me like my jaw dropped at a certain point. She said a couple of lines in a row, and I was just like, holy shit. Like, the idea that a character like that, who's so well established and already delusional,
was egomaniacal, I remember thinking. Yep. Like, egomaniacal for sure. And that is exactly what I think she wanted it to do.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, it was right down the middle there. Let me see if I have it here. I pulled up some Thanos quotes at a certain point.
Yeah, I think she did quote fucking Thanos, basically.
She got real close to it.
Yeah, she was channeling her inner Thanos. And I think I saw some memes on the internet about that or something too.
Yeah, because like this one specifically, Thanos even said, "You could not live with your own failure, and where did that bring you? Back to me." Like, that was the kind of thought process too. I beat you, and now you're after me again, right?
Yeah.
And then Thanos also said, "I know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless. It's frightening." Like, that fear of loss is terrifying to her, you know? Yeah. What did it cost? Everything. Was it the Thanos thing? I am inevitable as a Thanos thing.
Yeah.
And even then he said, you should have gone for the head. Like, yeah, you went for my throat, but that wasn't good enough. Like, these are Thanos quotes that I was like, embodies Becky right now.
Yeah, I still think she's going to lose, though. And then she should. She should. Yeah, she has to lose.
And the delusional spiral from her mentality once she loses is going to be something else. It's going to be something else.
Well, and then it might just be an actual break for her, too. Like, that could just be what it's building up to. And I'm assuming that she wants to be a mom for a bit, too. And I get that, you know?
It could be. Or it could be a way for her to just, like, spiral into a whole other realm of storytelling.
I mean, Marsh,
could be both.
Like, Ref Marsh, like, so, like, let's just use this as an example. I'm not comparing the two wrestlers and their family situations, but Beth Phoenix quits NXT as an announcer.
Yeah.
Only to come on and do a fucking whole program with Edge, but now is nowhere to be seen, right? Yeah. So she basically went off to be a mom again, you know? While dad is working, because dad's working, they don't want to both be on the road, stuff like that, which makes sense. Okay.
That's what I mean, is she could disappear for a while to do the mom thing, but also when she comes back, she could be spiraling out of control. And
you're saying they could just offshoot from that, doesn't matter how long she's gone. And I got you, exactly. But I feel like if they could bring her back for any number of reasons because of who she 100%. Is. Yeah, they don't need to have her be crazy. I think they don't have to do any of that bullshit. She'd come back and be a babyface. The fans would be behind her in a fucking New York minute.
Dude, they could do whatever they want. She's going to be primed for any form of return. It'll be great.
Right. It's gonna be great. I actually want to see another babyface run from her. I think that would be fun for me to see because I did get to see her original comeuppance, and that would be fun.
I think I agree. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, and I don't want you to gloss over this, but the greatest promo ever was Pat on Raw interfering with Austin Theory's match.
That's where I was going to. Finn Balor and Austin Theory, this match, Pat McAfee on commentary. Tell me what you think.
The best.
The best. Incredible.
If it wasn't for Corey Graves, I see what you're doing, Corey, and I don't like it. It was awesome. Pat was fucking brilliant. I fucking loved the end when him and Finn Balor are doing the whoa, whoa together was awesome. Best moment of Raw since I've been back for me. I loved it. Just saying. Everybody knows I'm a Pat McAfee honk. Call me names. I don't care.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
I loved
all the McAfee stuff.
It was fucking awesome.
His fucking the crotch chop stuff, telling him to suck it, the going back and forth, like even.
Oh my god, dude! D-Generation X throwback. I love Pat. Just brings it back for us fans from the Attitude Era, and it's so homage. I loved it.
Well,
Stephanie was laughing about it. She's like, "Can he do that on TV?" She asked.
Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, babe, that's a fucking. They do that all the time. Yeah, she's like, oh god, dude, it was so awesome. It was my favorite Raw for fucking sure.
It was really cool, and the idea that Pat McAfee was pulling double duty for a dude who says he doesn't even really watch Raw because he just doesn't have time with his schedule.
Yeah.
It was amazing. He came out and did this whole segment,
dude, and fucking Corey Graves. Yeah, nice of him to dress up. Hey, fucking Corey, he wears that every day. You do a fucking 3-hour radio show nationally? No? Shut the fuck up! I see what you're doing, and I don't like it.
What can you imagine if they have these matches at WrestleMania, but then by SummerSlam you get McAfee versus Corey Graves?
I don't want that. Fuck Corey Graves. I don't want him to get over. Fuck him. He talks shit about Pat all the time. Pat never talks shit about you, Corey Graves, but you talk shit about him all the time. You insecure dick measuring motherfucker. Fucking pick on somebody else. You douchebag.
It's so good.
I see what you're doing, and I don't fucking like it.
It's so good. There was only 2 other segments left in this show. RK Bro and Alpha Academy. That was great.
Oh, awesome match, by the way.
It
fucking so good. And then I actually wasn't that sad about it getting broke up by the fucking Street Profits, who I know you hate, but I like.
Yeah, I wasn't.
They are actually have a match at WrestleMania, so they got to build that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't understand why the Street Profits are in that match at all as far as like storyline goes. They just kind of popped up and said we should be in the match, and everyone went, okay, I guess. You don't like, but a lot of people like. Yeah,
they get a big bump. They get a big bump, man. The Street Profits are liked. They're a popular. It's a fucking yeah. I got you.
Match. That's all.
I understand. You're not a fan.
Just win a match.
We all know this.
Somebody who's in the match, and then say, "No, I deserve being there."
The Wrestling on the Rocks crew that watches us, the 2.5 people that come in here regularly, yeah. Fucking know you hate those motherfuckers, so they know you're gonna say nothing. It's gonna be a good match. Just shut up and like it.
Should be good.
Brandon Barrett, you bastard. It'll be fine. It's gonna be a good match, man.
It's gonna be fun. I also think it's kind of weird too because I think everyone by now suspected we were gonna get Randy Orton versus Riddle at Mania.
Can I say something though?
Oh, go ahead.
With this tag team thing, that they are actually letting Riddle get over quite a bit. Yeah. He's been finishing the matches and stuff, and that is big because we talked about Riddle being in something bigger. He's getting there, man.
Yeah,
he's getting there. And, you know, I wanted to point that out because you brought that up. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your thought there.
You're right. No, 100%.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of my point, is that we all thought they were going to be split up and have a one-on-one match by Mania at this point. And at this point, they're still getting Riddle over through this. It's not burnout. They're not done with it. You know what I mean? Like, there's still a lot of legs, and there's still people getting over because of it. Like, that's huge. That's great.
Yeah.
It's notable.
Yeah, and the match was awesome too, man. Like, they're so fucking so good. And like, if you got Riddle getting over in a match with Randy Orton not finishing it, like that's, you know, before when they first started RK Bro, that was a lot of what was happening, right? That's not happening now, and they're like an awesome tag team. I think, you know what? I think the WWE likes the sales of the RK Bro shirt, and they're fucking here to stay for a while.
And they just work so good together. Was it this match or last week's match where Randy Orton cut that RKO in the moonsault?
I think that was last week. That was
so too.
Yeah, that was impressive though. Yeah.
The idea that those two dudes can work so well together, that timing could happen, is insane.
Dude, they're getting better, dude. They're getting better too. Oh, hey, Micah. Hey, everyone. Just wanted to say hi as I'm trying to watch Dynamite.
Yeah, it is a struggle to watch Dynamite. I hear you, Micah.
Yeah, Micah. I don't know what Dynamite is. You'll have to come back and explain that to me.
No one does.
No one's watching it. I don't. I really don't know what Dynamite is. What's Dynamite?
Well, you're better off.
Okay. Wednesday night is TNT hockey night, by the way, motherfuckers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That probably means we got to get you to hockey. Was there anything else you want to talk about on Raw? There was the stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, Pat.
Did we?
Pat. I wanted to talk about Pat on Raw. Well, no, I read an article real quick too. I wanted to say the top 5 storylines they said that could steal the show at WrestleMania 38.
Yeah, hit me with it.
And the first one was Charlotte, and I tried not to throw up, but I did. So I said no. Then I moved on to the next one, and they said Bianca. Hold on, I just want to.
Before you move on,
I don't want to spend any time on Charlotte. We've already talked about it.
I'm only going to say one thing about Charlotte because we've said it before. When she's super invested, something can happen. Like her match with Becky at SummerSlam was something else. If that's the Charlotte who's invested in this match, then you could have something to talk about.
Otherwise, it was something else because of Becky Lynch, and that was it.
I
got
disagree,
you.
But that's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You already spent way more time on Charlotte than I should have allowed you. Okay. The second one, they said Bianca. I was like, yes. Yeah. Her match, I expect that to be the match. If you ask me, what did you think would be the best match before WrestleMania? I would say that match. I think we're all going to say that is the fucking greatest women's match ever. It's going to be so fucking good. I believe it. Otherwise, we wouldn't get Becky doing such a fucking sell job.
Yep.
The third one they said was AJ Styles. I also said, yeah. Edge and AJ Styles could be the fucking match. And I was liking what we were seeing with Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. So I do think we are in for a fucking treat, and would not be surprised if everybody said that was the match of WrestleMania.
That would not shock me at all.
So, yeah, so we will see. Okay, number 4, Seth Rollins. I said if he makes it, because I don't know if he makes it. But, we think Gable Stevenson, that would be fucking cool. Seth Rollins getting him over, too, would be something else, too. I am with you on that. I would love that. Didn't even think about it until we talked about it pre-show and was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Okay. So number 5 is a little bit of the fantasy booking, Cody Rhodes. So those were the 5. I want you, Ref Marsh.
That's heavy fantasy booking, yeah.
Well, yeah, it is, because we don't know nothing there. This is this person's article. Also, you could throw Charlotte off the fucking list, for fuck's sake. Put Ronda on there. You know, Ronda could be the reason that fucking match doesn't suck ass. That's what I would have. But if I was gonna say, if you are picking what you think or who you want to be the fucking steal the show of WrestleMania 38, what would you pick? I know what I'm gonna say.
First and foremost, I would say if I had to go like number 1 on down, as number 1 being the one I feel like I would like to see steal the show more than anybody, I would say probably Becky Lynch. I feel like even her victory in WrestleMania 35 is shrouded with that little bit of that messed up count by the referee, which was no fault of her own. And honestly, if the referee had just paused for half a second, it would have been clean as a whistle and no one would have ever had anything to talk about. He just started counting too soon, but the move was in, it was locked in, the finish was done. He was over anxious. I think secondly, I would say that
like you're saying, the ref fucked up. The ref fucked up
yes,
in that match. Yeah.
The ref fucked up that finish, no doubt about it.
Okay.
I think that you could potentially easily have a Ronda Rousey that we talk about forever if you end up getting a Charlotte that is being less than cooperative and Ronda says, fuck it, and goes into, as they say, a business for herself to even it up. That could be something that we could definitely talk about for a long time, and I think that that's possible. I think it could be compelling. I think Gable Stevenson, if he does show up at WrestleMania, the same way that people still talk about Ronda Rousey's first WrestleMania match, her debut match, as being so epic, it could be overshadowed by a Gable Stevenson. I really think so. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. It would be cool, too, man. And I would like to see a guy come in and get a real big push. Yeah.
You know, like
I think AJ and Edge is too easy of a slam dunk. It's almost unfair to say that they could because it's almost too obvious. They're two of the greatest.
Might be 1A, 1B, right? Yeah. Cool, man. I wanted to hear what you would say on those.
Yeah. And I'd pick a Gable Stevenson over a Cody Rhodes as far as making a big splash that's impactful for a long time.
Yeah. Well, and you've seen Cody Rhodes, so I think I trust your judgment on that.
That's not to undercut Cody Rhodes. I've liked a lot of his matches and stuff, but I do think that without any kind of story, Cody Rhodes will put on a good wrestling match, but it will be just a good wrestling match with no story, where Gable Stevenson could be a big splash.
I'm telling you, even if Cody Rhodes is with the WWE or going to be, he's not going to be a part of WrestleMania. Because I think they've been building these WrestleMania storylines now for like 6 to 8 months, some of them.
Yeah.
The Bianca thing goes back to SummerSlam, basically.
Yep. Yeah.
So almost a year's time. So I just feel like they would not have tried to shoehorn Cody Rhodes in there. I think they're smart. They know the fans are smarter than that. It would be dumb as shit to do it. You might have him interfere or something at WrestleMania, do something small. But I think he comes on, like Ref Marsh said, the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming is going to be in Dallas anyway. Because they'll have... Yeah. So, yeah, I think that they will want to give that crowd a pop, and that's when, like, a Cody Rhodes or something. Yeah. And that would be better, you know? Like I said, that was the only thing. So, other than Ref Marsh thinking it was a, hey, fuck you to the city of Chicago, what I was saying, I would have liked to have seen the fucking Stone Cold actually come out, like, on a third one, and Kevin Owens get, like, run for his life. and then Stone Cold just be like, and chug a couple of beers. He didn't even have to touch fucking Kevin Owens.
Exactly.
That would have been fucking cool.
And I will say that
we might still see that too.
We could still see that. Yeah, and I would say as an asterisk that the only reason I didn't bring up Stone Cold or Kevin Owens because I think no matter what that looks like, people will talk about it for a very long time.
Yeah,
It's kind of like how you don't include Undertaker in your Mount Rushmore because it's just really not fair to talk about. Stone Cold Kevin Owens segment, it's not going to be fair to compare to the rest.
So Undertaker would be the statue that you built above Mount Rushmore, and he's looking down on the. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't argue that either. I will just say this. Micah says Dynamite is AEW programming, Sports Beard. Okay, cool, man. I didn't know that. Thank you. It's not because I hate AEW, guys. I just don't know anything about it. So nothing against AEW. Don't come after me. And for assassinating AEW. Ref Marsh is though, I think, maybe, possibly. Yeah. So no, man, fuck, that would be cool as shit. I would be so down with that.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Anything else you wanted to get in before we wrap it up?
I mean, the Pat on Raw was awesome. Corey Graves, you should watch out. Maybe Pat will do double duty.
Oh, that'd be good. Pat beats Austin Theory and then walks out there and slaps Corey right in the face. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Fires your ass.
Bitch boy.
You lose your job for being unprofessional. I see what you're doing, and I don't like it. This Corey Graves beef is not going away, Ref Marsh. I'm just telling you.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it. I got no issues with it.
Yeah.
I think I'm ready for last call if you are.
Yeah, let's go, buddy.
Let's do it, guys. We'll be back tomorrow night for a brand new episode 1 right here in the dive bar of the IWC. That's been at Beard_Sports. I am at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR the show. And that has been an episode 1 for the books. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, you sons of bitches.
That's last call.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for buying us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.